Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful lecture from Elder Michael Johnson, who is a Master Hebraist of biblical law. He lays out this incredible perceptual conflict between two totally opposing spiritual systems, faith and fate.
So, Elder Johnson's teaching frames our entire spiritual life through a pretty striking metaphor, an economy. We're going to take a look at this framework to help you figure out, well, which currency are you actually trading in?
Okay, so at the very heart of this idea are two currencies that are in direct opposition. On one hand, you have faith. This is the currency that runs on trust in things you can't see. And on the other side, you've got fate. Think of it as a counterfeit bill that demands constant, visible proof before it has any value.
All right, first up, let's break down the mechanics of the official system, what the source material calls JEHOVAH's economy.
In this economy, faith is basically the paper currency. It's the cash of heaven, you could say. It's the medium of exchange you and I use for all of our spiritual transactions, day in and day out.
But, just like any sound currency in our world, faith has to be backed by something real, something with actual weight. And that backing is belief. Belief is the spiritual gold standard. It's that heavy, unseen gold coin stored in the vault of your soul that gives your faith its real-world value.
So, the big question is, how do you prove you've actually got this spiritual gold in your vault? Well, that's where works come in. Now, the source is really clear on this. Works are not something you do to earn your salvation. Not at all. Instead, they're the tangible, visible proof that your belief gold is real and that your faith currency is actually authentic. As James 2:17 says, without them, your faith is just worthless paper.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Not all belief is created equal. As you can see here, its purity literally determines your purchasing power. A 30-fold belief? That might get you your basic spiritual provisions. A 60-fold belief opens the door to deeper mysteries. But a 100-fold, pure gold belief? Well, that gives you unlimited access to everything in Jehovah's treasury.
Okay, so let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the ledger. Let's see how this counterfeit system, this economy of doubt, actually operates. It's a whole different world.
Fate? Well, fate is the currency of the skeptic. It's a system built entirely on suspicion. It's always demanding more proof, it's never satisfied, and it turns relationships, both with Jehovah and with other people, into this endless, tormented bondage of prove it to me. And get this, it's the default system for anyone who doesn't actively, consciously choose faith.
The lecture gives us this incredible dramatic example of the difference. Think about the crucifixion. You had one thief operating completely on fate. He demanded proof. If thou be salvation of Jehovah, save thyself and us. He needed to see it to believe it. But the other thief? He operated on pure faith. Even though all the visible evidence screamed defeat, he simply made a plea based on an unseen trust. Lord, remember me.
And then there's the Apostle Thomas, who is just a perfect case study of how the demands of fate just keep escalating. First, he has to see, but then seeing isn't enough. He has to touch. And finally, even touching isn't enough. He demands to literally invade the wound. This is the very nature of fate. It's a total refusal to operate on trust that requires more and more physical proof, and it always ends with the same conclusion, I will not believe.
So, how does this whole preceptual battle actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Elder Johnson argues that the most powerful, the most revealing test of all is the marriage covenant.
The core argument here is that marriage works like a spiritual mirror. The kind of economy you operate in with your spouse, the person you see every single day, that reveals the absolute truth about your faith in an invisible creator.
So a marriage is going to operate on one of these two systems. According to Elder Johnson, a union built on fate is just a carnal contract of suspicion. It's full of demands for surveillance, interrogations, and it creates a terrible bondage. But a covenant of faith, that honors Jehovah's economy. It trusts in the unseen substance of character, and it yields peace and confidence.
And this is where it all leads. The choice of which currency you decide to accumulate, well, it has profound and, yes, eternal consequences.
The source material is crystal clear on this point. There is a day of reckoning coming, a day when the spiritual marketplace closes for good and every single account is finalized.
And here's the final balance sheet, laid out plain and simple. It's stark. Those who trafficked in faith, the currency backed by the unseen gold of belief, they receive eternal life. But those who dealt in the counterfeit currency of fate, the ones who only demanded visible proof, they find their accounts are settled as completely worthless, resulting in the second death.
So,
This explainer leaves us with one final, very provocative question to think about. When Jehovah's auditor arrives to settle your account for good, what currency is he going to find you've been collecting?